It says live in the lower left-hand corner. I think we're live.
Eymard, you're live.
Oh, great. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited after a lot of troubleshooting here. This is not my favorite camera. I had everything set up here, but the good thing is that now I can take you guys around and show you a little bit of the desserts and show a little bit of my Christmas decorations here at home. And we can do this fun little event here tonight where we're gonna we have some very special guests that I'm very excited to introduce you to and carry on this cherry-picked pairing event, which is with desserts. And I think that desserts are not highlighted enough with beer. And I think I picked up a few things here to share with you guys and some ideas for the holidays, and we're just gonna have some fun, drink some beer, and hear about the beers from the people running the show in the background. So we have here John Mallet from Bell's. That's who we're gonna start with our appearance today. We have Josh Deth from Revolution, and we're gonna do a little bit of. I want to hear all about the beers from you guys, and then we have Mike Siegel from Goose Island. And I want you guys to introduce yourselves. I'm gonna be bringing in the food while we discuss the beer, and I wish you guys could be here to try the food and the beer with me. But I think we're gonna have to wait until hopefully 2021 to do that sort of thing live, right? So. And I want this to be more of a fun little chat about the beers, and I want to hear some curiosities, some fun facts about the beers, about the breweries, about you guys running the show, and then talk about holiday stuff. Okay, so we're gonna start with the Lager of the Lakes, and one of my favorite pairings with it, which is. I don't know if you guys explore that route, but pistachio ice cream and a good old Pilsner, good old lager. And when we talk about pairing, it's about balance. Beer is so versatile as far as pairing goes. We can pair by balance and we can pair by contrast. And I think to me personally, obviously it's very pairing is very subjective, but you can pair pistachio ice or pistachio gelato and a lager or a good Pilsner pairs both by contrast and by balance. So I'm gonna go out there, get a couple of scoops of pistachio gelato, and I'm gonna experience this in front of you guys and give you my notes. But I want John Mallet to take it away and talk a little bit about where you want about the Lager of the Lakes that we're featuring here tonight.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm going to get my pistachio gelato in a minute as well, but I'll take a minute while you're getting yours and awesome. I don't know, do whatever.
Yeah.
So, it is. I don't know where everybody is, but I will tell you here in West Michigan, it is just past 5 o'clock, pretty much dark. It is dreary. The sky was never above that of a dull steel gray. And I'm not just talking about today, but for days. If there was ever a season for drinking, this is it. Ski Hill opening tomorrow. Super psyched about that. But who's going out in the 35-degree rain and dark at this time of year? So good time to be inside drinking some different beers. And I love the fact that holiday beers, you think about kind of what's holiday. We at Bell's made this like old-fashioned holiday. It's kind of tastes a lot like an old-fashioned, pretty nice beer. That seems like a natural, but we're drinking Pilsner, which is an awesome style. So here's my can here. Oh,
cheers to Pilsner. Cheers to Pilsner.
Cheers to Pils. Hey, before we get going, I would be remiss to not have everybody else introduce themselves, because I fully intend to interrupt you, Mike and Josh.
Look at that gelato.
And it does seem like if I'm going first, then that doesn't give you the chance to do the same with me, maybe. So who's going to be interrupting me? You're going to be interrupting me.
I got three little scoops here of the Lager de Lakes. The glass that I picked out for all three beers was a stemless red wine glass.
Yeah, that's what I'm using.
Very clean, very versatile for all styles of beer. I didn't want to go too fancy because we have three very different styles of beers here to have it tonight. But I'm gonna go ahead and crack this guy open. It was not hard to find Lager de Lakes. I did have some trouble finding your Fistmas there, Josh. But
I had to run around today to find it too. But
no problems finding this, and of course here in Chicago, right?
No.
So
great beer.
Yeah.
Would you do like a float with that? Would you float
You
that?
can.
That's
You know what?
that
Let's try that
pistachio.
too. So very fresh.
I got Pilsner pistachio float is like, that's wild.
I'm not putting ice cream in my beer glasses.
Your Kolsch glass.
Oh,
I love drinking pills out of a Kolsch glass because it's like it's as light as the beer is. It's like the edge is crisp, like the beer is crisp. I know it's really
And
straight.
there's that certain angle where it just like shoots right in.
Yeah.
Man, and the gelato. I was gonna go all in. I was gonna churn because I have an ice cream machine here at home. I have a churner. I was gonna churn the gelato. I was gonna make everything at home, so I kind of caved in. The only thing that I made here at home was the chocolate lava cake. But the one that I picked out here today, which it's always on point too, is the Talenti gelato. They have
It's good gelato. Yeah.
It's great gelato. They have some chunks of pistachio, and that really goes good. So it really doesn't matter which order you go through. If it's ice cream first or if it's beer first, it really goes great.
All right, John wanted us to introduce before. I'm Josh from Revolution. I'll be talking later.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm Mike Siegel from Goose Island, R&D manager. We'll be talking about Bourbon County Stout later.
Awesome. Did we lose? John Mallet went to grab his pistachio, right?
Yeah, he's getting his gelato. Oh, same gelato.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that, huh? Hold them both up with the look at that, huh?
Very nice. Look at that. We did not plan that at all. So that's perfect.
Well done.
You tell me what you think. I think that the bitterness and sweetness, because it's a little bit on the bitter side. Bohemian Pilsner. I think this can right here is very, very fresh. I just think the pistachio. I just cannot stop eating actually and drinking.
Yeah, the bitterness kind of accentuates it first, and then the creaminess kind of comes behind it and blanks it out. So
Right.
It's a nice little flavor spike there. This is not a pairing I would have ever guessed.
What do you think?
Not bad.
Great.
I was thinking it something like a Belgian wit beer, or something kind of weedy and a little bit phenolic. Like, we make this bright white. I was like, that could be good too, but this is really nice. This is, I like doing these things because it's unexpected, right? You always want to.
I found out about this pairing, and it all happens by accident. It was at a restaurant in Brazil. This guy had a very good gelato ice cream, and hey, have you tried this with our Pilsner? I was like, oh, this is absolutely phenomenal. But when I was at Bishi too here in Chicago, we had a matcha ice cream, and then we had a light lager on tap, and that also worked pretty well. I would pick this over the matcha ice cream for a Pilsner, but that was another very good. But yeah, very fresh. No one talks about ice cream and beer unless you're talking about beer float or root beer.
Yeah, when you say total accident, I could totally see this as an accident. Maybe maybe after I spent too much time at Simon's, right after I spent too much time at the Hop Leaf, and then I got home, and I didn't really have that good dinner, and there it is. A pairing.
Can we just drink some glug? Can we drink some glug now and just pivot?
Yes.
So, John, tell us what's going on at the brewery. Tell us any new thing going on at the breweries, any new releases, or any fun things going on in Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I think that as the case with the breweries everywhere, I've been the tagline I've been using is for like the last 30 some odd years, my professional life has been focused on yeast and bacteria, and for the last year, that's took a change to virus. I am ready to be done with virus and back to yeast and bacteria.
Thank you. That would be awesome.
Just trying to maintain a super safe workspace for pretty large crew, and continue to crank out great beer. That's been a bit of a challenge. I think like a lot of brewers, we're sort of like, what is happening, and we kind of went to ground a little bit, but it's given us a chance to do some cool stuff. And overall, breweries, we're super heavy draft. I think we're something like 40% of our business was on premise. So when everything shut down, and we've climbed mostly out of that hole. Like we're going to be down maybe a little bit this year, but not like 40%, right?
Right.
So just big switches in terms of the amount of beer you got to get out in cans, securing cans. Just some changes this year, but overall pretty positive. We got a bunch of cool stuff coming up and some really interesting beers that continue to come out. We use our pub as a real distribution area for a lot of these, goofy ideas we have, and maybe they make a bigger time.
Right.
And we're selling some crowlers and growlers, but that program's changed a little bit.
First time I've been to your pub was back in 2013, and it was a very good experience. I've been there after a couple of times, but always enjoy going there.
Well, you can sit outside and drink beer in the beer garden right now
right now, great
in 28-degree weather. So
yeah,
you might want to get moving because place fills up early.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great to hear, though. That's great to hear.
It's better than you can do at our pub. So
right.
So
on time here. Yeah, no, great to hear that things are you guys are going through it or pushing through it. That's awesome. That's some positivity.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So we got that going on. This old-fashioned holiday, that was a special release this year that we hadn't done before. We did a first variety pack we've ever done, which the marketing team did a fantastic job of naming it Jingle Bells.
That's so good.
Yeah. And then there's we put a beer in there that was kind of special. So that's been really nice. I had a friend of mine last night in Colorado texting me pictures of him drinking our beer. So that's pretty cool stuff. I don't know what else to tell you.
That's great.
We're vibing, right?
I saw that employee group pack that you did too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's we were just talking about that more today and how we're looking to continue to play with that program. Back a while ago, it's like we wanted to celebrate some different groups in the brewery that maybe have been underrepresented in brewing in general. So a group of our fantastic women brewers got together and put together a really nice beer, and then we've got that with our Black and and Indigenous and that whole group. So that's been fantastic. Beer going there. Veterans. We got a bunch of veterans that work at the brewery.
So we got a couple.
Yeah, and then it's been a really fun program to do. We're looking to continue to do more of it. It's great just to to have people coming in to talk about beer and what do you want to do, and it's built community, right? That's what beer is in its essence, building community. But so
right, no, that's absolutely phenomenal. Let's move on here with with Josh.
All right.
Try to
How's it
make
going?
the time.
So I had to hunt around for a Fistmas. This is our
Right.
new. I got to push the marketing. This is the new Fistmas can with naked Santa in a barrel. And yeah, no, it's our holiday seasonal beer, and so we made it first at back at the brew pub. I think on our first Christmas season, we were like, let's do a Christmas beer, and this is the beer that we made, and it's stuck. Not everything you do early on sticks, but this one stuck around, and yeah. I'm gonna drink for a second.
No, and from what we talked about, you guys is really pushed out that one. People really enjoyed it this year. I have a few of them here in the back.
Yeah, we had a good year. Like obviously for Revolution, it's like I think like the urban breweries, the big city type breweries are getting hit the hardest. I guess it depends where your city is and what the rules are like, but like everything is shut down in Chicago, and Mike knows this too. And it's
Right.
our brew pub is fully shut down for a while. Our tap room is shut down to the public. We're doing a bunch of curbside business, but everything is shifted from kegs to cans for us, right? And so people want to enjoy. They're enjoying it at home, not that they didn't before, but yeah, a little bit of something to be happy about and to get excited about. That's what seasonal beers are all about. It's just like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that taste. Just like we at the brewery every year, like when we have our first taste of Fistmas, our first taste of Oktoberfest is a classic one for me. It's like, oh, I miss that taste, that flavor, and you don't get it all the rest of the year. So
Right. And
what happened to that can? That can is all beat up there. Yeah, it's a quality issue there.
Yeah. I'll grab a better one here.
But yeah, the Fistmas is this is like good old me and Jim Seaback put this recipe together back in the day. I used to homebrew ginger beers, like alcoholic beers with ginger steeped in them. It was just like a favorite ingredient. I used to love like Reed's ginger beer, which was like super strong and that burn ginger flavor, and that's always what we were going after with this. And then hopping it up. It was like there's obviously the legacy of Christmas. This is a spiced beer. We don't do a lot of spiced beer. That's not our forte.
No,
We do
but
a couple of them, but that's
and
what
I
this
feel
is.
like the hops that you picked out too for this beer really goes good with everything that's going on here with the body, with your malt bill. I think it's just such a I think it's selling well not because of the theme here of Naked Santa, which is he's very attractive in this picture, and it's remind me again, it's different from last year's, right? The label is different.
We've been renewing all of our labels. We did like we'll call a brand refresh. And, it's just like something we do every 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And Fistmas is the first of the seasonal beers to get that new look to it. And so
Got it.
it's fun. Like you tell a story with the can of beer, right? Even the
Mhm.
Lager of the Lakes, same thing. I look at that and I wonder, like, what's the story, right? It's not
Right.
like the top beer. And so, yeah, it's like it's nice to be able to update the story. We updated the Anti-Hero, right? And it's like they got a character we've never even like given him or even her an official name before, but it's nice to update it and give a different background, a different posture, and just keep talking about it. And,
Right.
Is that Anti-Hero?
Anti-Hero.
Like they would say in New England, Anti-Hero, Anti-Hero. It's so good to see you.
Sure, man.
No, that's great. And when it's funny because when I picked out in my head I want to do a very nice carrot cake even before having the beer. I had it last year, so I remember that. Oh yeah, the spices. And then when Josh, when we were emailing, I was like sharing a little bit of my ideas. It goes, oh yeah, it goes with good with ginger, cloves and cinnamon. I was like, that's pretty much all the spices on the prevalent on the carrot cake, right? So
yeah, let's see your carrot cake. Let's see it.
you want to see my carrot cake?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
I already took a little slice here for myself. So let's go. I like to do beer first.
Okay. I don't have a carrot cake in front of me, but
Fine.
good.
And there's some very nice cream cheese frosting. This is very good. Actually. It's a store-bought. I did not make this one. I was gonna make it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. What do you think?
I love it.
Yeah.
Not only
Can I
because I'm
just-
hungry.
Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I don't like carrot cake. You know, you pick
No?
this out.
Okay.
I like carrot. I like the cake part, but the cream cheese frosting, I'm not into cream cheese frosting. You know, it's like there's a pecking order of frosting. I
Right.
generally am not a big frosting kind of guy. I like a whipped cream type frosting, but
So-
it is a cloying. It's cloying, don't you think?
How about
Yeah.
how about a carrot bagel? Would you have cream cheese on a carrot bagel?
Ooh,
Or
yeah.
carrot
Like I would
cake.
have carrot cream cheese. I like a veggie cream cheese.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, there you go.
A little fun
Savory.
fact.
I'm a
little
savory
fun-
kind of a guy.
So carrot and cream cheese work together, just not the cake part. You could be like a
Oh, I love cream cheese.
Yeah.
I'm looking
It's
here.
the cloying. It's the cloyingness. Yeah.
I'm looking here in the comments. Dana Johnson says he's a big fan of the frosting on the carrot cake. So, but a little fun fact here. I don't know if you guys know, but I was born in Brazil, and my mom and my grandmother have a 50-year-old high-end catering business. So I've been cooking since I was 9. That was my first cake that I baked. So I'm very familiar with, but in Brazil, carrot cake does not have a cream cheese frosting. It's actually a chocolate frosting. And
I'm with you there.
Right. And it does not, so Brazilians are not a big fan of spices, not only like spices like cloves and cinnamon. Like it's there, it's in the culinary, but it's not as prevalent as it is here, especially for the holiday season. And so the carrot cake in Brazil is not spiced up. It's obviously made of carrots, but the frosting is chocolate. It's chocolate, nice frosting all over it. So I like it better, but I really do like the cream cheese frosting too, and it really goes good with primarily the spices. What's really coming through here and what's really matching here, not I wouldn't say that the pairing with the cream cheese frosting, it's amazing, but the spices that's what it goes really good together. So this is a pairing by balance.
So for us, when we constructed this beer, we almost started with what we didn't want to do, which was just like a nutmeg, clove, cinnamon bomb, which is like what, obviously when you're a Christmas beer, you are following the pumpkin beers, right? And to me, it's like the pumpkin beers come out first, and you gotta be unique and you gotta stand out at Christmas time. You got to bring something that's a little different than what people are expecting around the fall time. And so, obviously, I talked about the ginger. We also use orange peel, right? It's a sweet orange peel that we're using for this, as opposed to a bitter orange peel. And so for us, we excluded all those spices. But at the end of the day, we get, when you drink the beer, it's like fruitcake or banana bread
Yeah.
the sweetness of the malt, along with the ginger spice, brings out a lot of those spices that you expect when you think about getting. So
right, and
it's always been a fun one.
It's not your usual Revolution hoppy beer, right? It goes in a different direction.
Definitely.
I love it that you guys do that. Awesome, it's great. And any fun things going on at Revolution besides the lockdown, the brew pub being shut down? We don't have any outdoor space, and you guys are focusing on cans. We heard that. But
there's other stuff going on. Obviously, the barrel aged beers are big. I could segue into Mike here a little bit, and it's this is barrel aged season. We don't have, Mike's representing. He's got the barrel in the background. Well done. We just released a bunch of barrel aged beers, and people are hot for them. And for us, those are obviously they go great with dessert. And for me, that's my sweet spot of dessert is fry up some bananas and add some barrel aged beer, add some bourbon, and go for that. And so yeah, that's been a lot of fun to grow that program for us. It's John brought it up, which was like we use our pubs as like the innovation point,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so we're actually just bought a. I'm excited. We just bought a pilot brew system just the other day.
Yay.
It hasn't arrived yet. It'll be a while. Yeah, we never had,
Great.
for a while we had a philosophy of just like F pilot brews. Like we're just gonna brew it. And that worked for a while. And the brew pub was our pilot brew system, which is a 15-barrel system. We could do half turns, 7-8 barrels of beer, and we could plow through it at the brew pub. It was so busy at the tap room and the brew pub, 7-8 barrels wasn't a problem. But these days, with everything kind of being shut down, like pushing out 8 barrels draft only is tough. Then you just get a log jam. We don't have a way to push out the draft only type beer. People are wanting kind of a little more simplified program out there in the world. And so in order to do that, we got to scale down the piloting, which is cool. It was an opportunity, something we've always wanted to do. And so that's like a small little thing to get involved in, but that's fun to do. And
you're doing 1 barrel, 2 barrel? How small?
It's a 1 barrel system. I thought, like, should I get 2 barrel? My normal thinking is like, oh, we should get 2 and 3 barrel fermenters. We should batch it up. But no, that's not what we're trying to do here. The key is just to get a whole bunch of them and to be able to kind of move it along. Yeah, what did we get? We ordered a Ruby Brewing Systems. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ruby Street.
Electric.
Yeah,
Ruby Street. Yeah. And it's got a really cute like man way for the mash, like to grain out.
Yeah.
I'm excited to open up the little man way and grain out in 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Very happy for you guys. Cool. Shall we move on? To Mike? And Mike,
looks like there's a question on there too, right?
there's a question in here.
Yeah, from
What
Erin.
pairs?
From
what
Erin
pairs
Glass. Great to hear from her.
Fruitcake.
What pairs of
Crowd's
fruitcake?
opinion.
Yeah.
Go ahead, guys. I'll be the last one to answer. In your
Like
opinion,
to me, like I describe Fistmas as fruitcake, and so like fruitcake is so sweet, so intense. I think it needs bitter. I think you got to bring something that complements all that sweetness, and that's what I would say.
I'm gonna go with an open garbage can. That's what pairs with fruitcake. There, how you like that, huh?
Yeah, I think I'm with you, John.
No. What do you think, Mike?
Well, like as far as like I think Eymard hit the nail on that earlier. It's like you can, with your pairings, you can find kind of consonant resonant flavors, or you can go the opposite direction. And I think if you got something rather sweet and cloying, or you'd want something to cut that, or something really rich and fatty, you want something to cut that. So believe me, I'm no expert on beer and food pairings, but I think, if a fruitcake is, or a carrot cake or whatnot is very intense, you can ratchet that up by having a beer that amplifies that, or you can go the other direction and just try to, pair it, truly pair it. So, with Bourbon County Stout is like, I did a horrible job preparing for this, by the way. I didn't make any desserts. I didn't get the other beers. I'm ashamed of myself. So, but Bourbon County Stout is a dessert in a glass, right? It's rich, it's sweet, it's chocolatey, vanilla, caramel, almond, cherry, coconut. It's all there in the glass. So we've done pairings, of course, with Bourbon County Stout over the years, and you could pair it with just like anything chocolate, anything vanilla, berries, etc. But you don't have to. Like what I'm doing right now, you can just pour it into a snifter and have your pre-dinner Bourbon County Stout.
right? And fruitcakes in the United States. So again, I go back towards other cultures as well, and I think that the fruitcake in the United States is kind of like the Italian, and which is very big in Brazil this time of year. It's the panettone, which is
panettone.
Right. It's a bread.
Comes in a beautiful little container or tin.
Right. It's a bread. It's kind of like it's almost like a present. People hand those out like as a present because they're so like. But it's more. It's not as sweet. It's not a cake. It's not as sweet, and it's with dried fruits, right? So it's kind of like a we call it in Portuguese iguaria, where it's something very very fancy.
Yeah, but beers, great beers like Bourbon County and our Deepwood beers, they're like their presence too. That's what I was gonna say. Instead
Right.
of what you accompany the fruitcake with is a gift that somebody really wants.
Right.
Just like some great craft beer.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you guys.
What did I do with it?
So just talk about the pairing a little bit. I'm gonna pick out the original Bourbon County Stout.
Yeah.
Right, Mike.
Mhm.
And I think for stouts, especially barrel aged bourbon not just barrel, bourbon barrel aged stouts, chocolate. chocolate. So I actually made this little guy here, right? I made 3 of them because I was afraid of screwing it up. I wanted to be perfect, but I made those chocolate lava cakes. I made 3 of them, and I just garnished it. The marshmallow is supposed to be toasted, but I did not have time to toast them. But I'll do a little cross section for you guys here, so you guys can see the molten core going on here. Let me see if I can see it.
Oh, okay. So that's what a lava cake is. I'm completely ignorant to lava cake. So it's a kind of a brownie like exterior with a very
So it's an undercooked.
You can make them in a microwave.
Right.
Oh.
It's an undercooked cake, right? You just the outside settled, but the middle is still still a little bit undercooked. So it's
the lava, right?
Yeah.
Great.
So I'm gonna take a bite here in a second, but I'm gonna crack this guy open. Good thing about winter is that you can leave your beer outside here in Chicago, at least, to
my garage is my attached garage is my cellar.
In the wintertime, right?
Yeah, in the wintertime. Yeah, it's so Bourbon County Stout. As you're doing your thing, I'll just get a little bit into the beer. A lot of Munich, C60, chocolate, roasted barley, black malt. Big malt, 30 Plato. Josh knows this from his days at Goose. It's big beer. Finishes about 10.5 Plato. Goes in the barrel about a little under 12% alcohol. Comes out between 14, 15. So big, boozy, rich cocoa, chocolate, vanilla, coconut, caramel. Not only from the caramel malt, but from the wood sugars, from the whiskey. So all those, like you said, you could do chocolate. You could do any number of pairings with Bourbon County Stout.
Right.
And all that flavor, 92 calories, huh?
550 calories per 12 ounces, folks.
Bam, baby. Bam.
Wow.
I did taste the experimental barrel aged seltzer that came out of your brewery. And, when is that hitting?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're that's kind of our way of doing seltzer, I guess, is to barrel age it. So we'll see where that goes. But,
it was interesting.
Hey, there's a question that came in the Q&A section from Dana who says, "What's in the barrel behind you?"
This is a fake barrel, obviously. This is a branded.
Oh.
A little liquor cabinet. Nice.
A little liquor cabinet, basically, or a Bourbon County cabinet. We made a few of these for some friends, and included a bourbon barrel aged cigar.
Wow.
From our friends at Up Down Cigar. You guys might know them. So bourbon barrel aged. Josh knows about those, I'm sure. We do a lot of collaborations this time of year with local businesses. We did Lily's Q barbecue sauce, Bourbon County Stout. So one of our variants this year had bourbon barrel aged maple syrup, and so from Bissell Farms in Ohio, and so we gave them a Bourbon County Stout barrel, and they finished their bourbon barrel aged maple syrup in Bourbon County Stout barrels. So bourbon barrel, Bourbon County Stout barrel, maple syrup, delightful. If you've never had bourbon barrel aged maple syrup, it's incredible.
So we got a line of like 6 different bourbon barrel aged maple syrups. Just saying.
They're great, and yeah, I mean you can get bourbon barrel aged maple syrup pretty much anywhere now. But
our syrup is made in Michigan, though, so I will have to admit that.
Okay,
it's great.
Where the maples.
Tell me about the variation. I mean, this is a special year. This is the 20th anniversary of the Bourbon County Stout, and I'm pretty sure that I've been having every year without fail, I think since 2013 or 2014, and really paying attention to the variations of the year. Tell us about the changes or the variation of what's highlighted this year. I pick up molasses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, primarily it's molassesy, but it's something that we don't have it every year, so it's hard to kind of remember what it tasted like last year and so on and so forth.
I think it's pretty consistent year to year. I mean, barrel aged beers, obviously, there's variation year to year. Right. This year, it's a blend of Heaven Hill, Wild Turkey, and Buffalo Trace barrels. Last year was the same. 2 years ago, it was just Heaven Hill and Buffalo Trace. 3 years ago, it was all Heaven Hill. You know, it's barrel sourcing. You know, we're into the many thousands of barrels, and we treat barrels like a raw material, like you would malt and hops, right? So we want freshly dumped barrels. We don't want recoopered barrels. I want them dumped in Chicago in like a few days. I don't want them sitting around some cooperage. I don't want them taken apart. I don't want the barrels rinsed. I want minimum 4-year age on the barrels, and we'll take older than that, but these days it's tough. So originals made up of like 4 and 5 year old Heaven Hill, Buffalo Trace, Wild Turkey. I'm actually drinking. We did some little fun Easter eggs this year for Chicago only. You're not gonna be able to see it on here, but we did 3 distilleries. So original, the normal original is a blend of those 3, but we did a bottle run of entirely Heaven Hill, entirely Buffalo Trace, entirely Wild Turkey, and just put a HH, WT, or BT on the back. That's it. That's the only way you'd be able to find the difference between the main original and this. We actually did 3 secret variants within the original, which was
a great, man.
Gold nightmare. It was a legit nightmare.
Was that the Brewers? Was that the Brewers driving that?
That was actually the brand manager for Bourbon.
The marketing team. That's what I'm asking.
It was there.
Who's running the show there? Is it the Brewers or the marketing? Okay.
Yeah, the Brewers were like, we need more work. The Brewers would not have. Can we do it?
Yes. I mean, because literally it's a logistical nightmare, because it's like the tracking on that becomes like, even I remember when they hit the bright tank, we did them all like in the same day or two, and the 3 bright tanks in the lab technician went to the brewer and was like, wait a second, this one says Wild Turkey and then it says Buffalo Trace. Which one is it? We're like, oh shit. Like, we're pretty sure we got it right, but it created a bad scramble. And then it was Chicago only, and the logistics. I told the brand manager, I said, you're going to take the credit for this, I know, but people worked their ass off to make sure that these were entirely separate and unique. Right. It was fun in the end. So I'm actually drinking a Heaven Hill. But it goes to show, like, every bottle date of Bourbon County Stout, and there's probably 20 something bottling dates of Bourbon County Stout every season. Every one of those is its own blend of barrels, of hundreds of barrels. And then, so we're going to we want the profile to be consistent, but with some nuance change. For me, Bourbon County Stout can either go kind of more, like you're talking about, molasses, caramel, kind of higher caramels, toffee, roasty, in one direction, and the other direction tends to be a little bit boozier, like higher fruit, cherry, blackberry. That's just 2 potential avenues, but like barrel to barrel, like if I see the most, like if the fork in the road is one place, it's more like those caramel roast notes on one end, and then kind of those cherry, boozy, fruity notes on the other end. But the blend would normally come together as kind of having all that.
You hit the nail on the head too when you just described the beer, because that's exactly what I'm picking up on top of the molasses. And just so I don't miss out on the pairing, though, there's no way you can go wrong with any chocolate. So this is a 50% for chocolate lava cake. You do about 70% cacao chocolate, but I really do love milk chocolate, so I mix half and half for this recipe. I modify a little bit. And texture wise, and the milky, and I do have just a couple unroasted marshmallow. They're supposed to be roasted, but you just cannot go wrong with a chocolate lava cake or a chocolate cake or any chocolate dessert, and in a bourbon barrel aged stout, especially Goose Island's Bourbon County Stout.
Yeah, I mean, both these Bell's and Revolution make fantastic barrel aged beers as well. In the Midwest is just, it's the home of, of barrel aged beers. I feel like it's just, as John was saying earlier, it's cold. We want something to warm us up, and I drink a lot of Bourbon County Stout during the summer and fall when we're making it, and by the time it hits this time of year, quite honestly, it's released to the public now, but I've done probably 12 or 13 virtual tastings over the last couple of weeks, and I'm ready for some Fistmas and some Lager to the Lakes.
Right.
My 550 calories per 12 ounces. I'm putting on some pounds quickly.
Yeah, because those are brewed. Well, you said 2 years in the barrel, so 2018, right?
This year, average age of original is 15 and a half months in the barrel. Typically, it's about a year, but we blended in from 2 year stock this year. But a little bit older for original this year in the barrel. A little bit more of that. I think some of those positive oxidation notes, those kind of nutty almond notes come through.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of the dried fruit. But I think perfectly in line with. Listen, this is Greg Hall's beer. I was not there at the beginning. Josh was there at or near the beginning.
I came a couple years later, but there was the dinner with Booker No.
Yeah,
that was like I remember people talking about that. That came.
Actually, Greg's inspiration was Bell's. So Greg wanted to do a special. Bell's did batch 500, batch 1000, whatever the batches were, and Greg was batch 1000 at Clybourne, and Greg wanted to do a special brew. And that's what it was. I mean, whether it was 92 or 94, 95, it's somewhere in there. But this is Greg Hall's beer. We're just trying to carry the torch, and do the best possible, Bourbon County Stout that we can.
Right. No. Fantastic. And there's a lot of history here. There's a lot of history in the skull here, and I think here in the Midwest. And I wanted to pick out, when I picked out the beers for this pairing, I wanted to highlight Chicago. Siebel. I actually didn't introduce myself. I don't know if people in this call are aware of. I'm hosting the event, but I've been running the sensory program at Siebel as an external faculty for about four and a half years, and I joined in as product manager and recruiter for Siebel in a year now. This is my first year as full-time staff at Siebel. So when I put this together, and we do have a one of our classes during the Palma program and the Advanced Brewing Theory program and the Master Brewers program is a class conducted by Randy Mosier, where he does a pairing. We gather students. It's kind of like a little bit of a graduation for the people going through that went through the Advanced Brewing Theory program, and then it's the last day that they get to go home, and we kind of bring in Randy Mosier and we talk about beer pairing. So I took a little pages off of his book, but when I thought about the people making the beers, I wanted to go local, and I feel like I heard a lot of history. There's a lot of history in this call too. So I really wanted to highlight what it is that Chicago does best. And Siebel, being here in Chicago and in the Midwest, I think there's a lot of stories to be told about our beers, and the birth of barrel aged beers, or barrel aged stouts. I think it's truly special, and yeah, awesome.
Yeah, we were supposed to host you guys. I've been hosting Siebel classes for pretty much my entire 9 years at Goose, and we were going to have you guys. I think it was the second week of March. We had to cancel at the last minute.
But that's when things,
right before the world
got dicey,
turned,
right?
That's when things. Yeah, it was like a couple days before things turned on its head. But I'd love to have you back, you and the Siebel students back at Goose as soon as we can do it safely.
Of course, yeah, we'll be there, absolutely. And tell us about. I'm curious to hear about how's the brew pub too that you got going on in North in Clybourne.
Brew pubs still brewing, obviously under the same challenges that all of us face. So we've got the brew pubs brewing. The tap room is open, so I oversee our 2-barrel pilot brewery at the Fulton Street Brewery that we put in 5 years ago. That feeds our tap room. Our tap room has outdoor space, so we've kind of created this like a half of a wall to block the wind. I mean, Josh knows that little Fulton, industrial corridor is just like a wind tunnel, and it's just blowing garbage. Literally, it's like a garbage.
They used to drag race down there. One day we showed up, and a car had smashed into the east loading dock, and they just abandoned the car. It was a stolen car. They just abandoned it.
Oh, it's not the greatest neighborhood, but people are still coming out. I mean, this time of year we put all the bourbon. We released 7 Bourbon County Stouts this year, so we got them all on tap, and obviously that's a draw. So we're trying to do everything as safe as possible, just like everybody else. And it's
you guys could shut down the street. The city is letting people shut down the street in Chicago. You guys could do it there and put on a big thing. I know you use like the United Center to like stage the cars.
Yeah,
it's hard in the Midwest. Just like we have bourbon to keep us warm, right? We're pretty close to where they make that good old bourbon for the most part, and it keeps us warm in our winter times. And but yeah, it's tough in these winter times here to be outside. Good luck.
Yeah, a lot of propane heaters. And trying to block the wind somehow. So we're making it work. We're this is a good time of year for us. I mean, it's honestly, it's kind of a miracle that we're able to pull off all the release here on time, given all the extra safety considerations and whatnot. Fortunately, Bourbon County Stout goes in the barrel, like I said, well in advance, but we had to make all the variants, or most of the variants, this summer and fall. So we pulled it off. I'm really, really happy with the results, and the team came together and under extraordinary circumstances. It's we're all going through the same thing. It's a incredibly weird year, but I'm just happy we're able to release the beer for people to taste.
That's awesome.
So what I'm drinking right now is this old fashioned holiday that we came out with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a lot of the flavors that we've been talking about through this whole thing. So, orange,
barrel-aged
orange cherry barrel aged. Yeah. So trying to emulate like an old fashioned in a glass. We didn't make that much of it. We put it out. It kind of disappeared pretty quickly. I've been holding on to mine, and then I was like, well, fuck it. Tonight if we're doing this thing, then I'm having one of them. It's pretty good.
Nice.
I'm really enjoying it quite a bit. But
there was a question.
What's that?
There was a question from somebody about should we barrel age in a rum barrel first and then a bourbon barrel second? I think that's since we're talking about spirits here. It's like, to me, like, we've used rum barrels. The rum barrels are all spent. A lot of them are old Jack Daniels barrels. They're old American bourbon barrels that are used. Man, they send them down to Jamaica or the Dominican Republic, and they use them a whole bunch of times. And then they send them back to you, and those are the barrels that are falling apart, that they got to be reconditioned. And I would look at it more as a finishing barrel to pick up the spirit at the end. But the bourbon barrels are the highest quality barrels. They're the most intact. They have the most of the oak left to give to us.
Yeah.
And so you want to spend the most time in bourbon barrels and then finish in some other barrel.
From
like you look at those Caribbean barrels, they're the fucking Blues Brothers vehicle of the barrel world. It's just
tequila too. Tequila and rum is where barrels go to die.
I mean, it's like, why? Like, I don't need a strainer. I need a barrel. I need something that actually holds the liquid.
You want to put it in for like 24 hours and take it out.
It's 100% right. It's bourbon, like Josh said, we're 5 hours north of Kentucky. They use the barrels once. I think we had one out of thousands and thousands of barrels this year that we emptied. That one barrel that was a little bit weird. They're so consistent and reliable across so many distilleries. Rum, tequila, every time we've used them. Any barrel outside the U.S.
Sherry.
I would basically double up my order and count on half the barrels to be crap by the time we extracted them. But yeah, and you can do some magic with rum. I mean, there's some American rums, not a lot, but there's some American rums that you can find. As long as they're coming from the U.S. and they don't have to go through customs and they're not used, 14 times, like Josh said in Jamaica. You could be all right. So it's doable.
You know what barrels we've had that came in really well for us was Malort.
Nice.
Very interesting.
We did a collab. We did an anti-hero version of Malort that's very COVID related. Sometime in March or so, everyone stopped buying kegs, and we have every day probably thousands of kegs just sitting down ready to feed the market. And so we brought them down to the distillery. It was actually, for me, it was the first time that I've ever done a full batch of distilling from the beginning to the end. At the CH distillery in Chicago, is who bought the Malort recipe.
Oh, really?
Doing barrel aged Malort. They did a thing with Floyd's on the barrel aged Malort, and we did a quick batch of Malort with Anti-Hero distillate, non-barrel aged, and there is some that has been barrel aged that I could reveal here that will come out in the future on that, and so it's exciting. It's fun stuff. Wormwood.
Just to add on the rum barrel, I have nothing to add. Very little. It sounds like everybody had their experience with rum barrel from Central America, and I did too. And John Mallet said, "Yeah, we want something to hold in the water." I think we bought 50 of them. 25 was holding something. Everything else was absolutely trash. And I think we bought some. I was working in southern Indiana, and we bought some barrels from Bacardi. And guess what? One of the barrels had 5 or 6 gallons of Bacardi still left in them. we shared the 55 percent alcohol Bacardi rum to everybody in the brewery. So it was fun times. But yeah, no, absolutely. Just to give you my notes on. But I found it interesting to hear from you guys because we can all relate to the same thing, same experiences. Yeah, rum barrels or every.
Eymard will get you some Cachaça barrels for you.
Yeah,
Cachaça. Now
we're working on that. We're working on that right now. Yeah.
If there's anything that I can do to facilitate, especially with the language, let me know.
And some different woods. They have a bunch of different
different hardwoods
down there.
Like
that
same woods. Cachaça and Umberto. I mean, that's a pretty interesting product. Yeah,
that's what you're talking about. Umberto or something like that.
Umberto.
Yeah. Umberano.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. Really interesting kind of smoky
here. I think Umbuarana. There's someone in the comments.
There's like is it balsam? Mm-hmm. A different type of wood. We did a collaboration down in Brazil. So Goose launched beers down in Brazil 5 years ago when I went down there, and we did a collaboration. And they had all sorts of. They had little mini foeders and barrels made of, like Josh said, all these different hardwoods that are native to Brazil. Super cool. Yeah, we went to Cachaçaria, saw how cachaça is made. Went to the sugarcane fields and got to cut down some sugarcane and fascinating stuff. So, but again, coming from a long way, I'd always be dubious.
That's very true. It holds true, and absolutely. Brazilian cachaça was considered Brazilian rum up until it got recognized as cachaça because it's different from rum. It's not made out of molasses. It's made out of sugarcane juice, which it either becomes sugar or it becomes cachaça. And molasses is the byproduct of sugar making. I get homesick if I start talking about cachaça.
Good stuff.
Hungover and physically sick. But
right.
No, I think about cachaça, the incredible variety there. I've got everything from a Tetra Pak, a juice square of like, woo, like
Right.
good for maybe lighting fires, onto some really nice barrel aged stuff that I picked up when I was down there, and really impressive. The range and the diversity, lovely.
Let's put
What kind of
together-
dessert would that go with, you think?
Ooh, okay.
Which one, the sanitizer or the?
Yeah, like the the motor oil.
Okay, not for the motor oil,
Jet fuel.
but for the craft cachaçerias in Brazil, because cachaça has been dominated in Brazil. Cachaça is for Brazilians what is tequila for in Mexico. It was back in the day. It was a poor man's drink. It was something that people got wasted on, and it had some dark roots, but with the craft industry coming in, and there's a lot of craft cachaçerias, and you pick up a lot of it's a combination of both banana and olive notes. It's kind of a little funky when you think about pairing, but a banana pie with a nice chilled. It has to be chilled like in the freezer cachaça, like, and just as a disatif, but a banana pie and a nice craft cachaça, that would go perfectly. That's a pairing by balance. So
Great.
I should probably take you guys down there for like a native tour, not a tour guide, but a native tour.
Educational experience.
Educational experience. There you go.
Love it. I love those.
Yeah, Mike, I think your company could sell some beer down in Brazil.
We do.
already do.
We
already
do.
do.
We brew beer in Brazil.
Yeah, AB and Bev is it started in Brazil, right? And then we got to where we
Brew
are
it
today.
down there, so it's fresher. Yeah.
What do you
All right,
send,
guys.
What does Goose Island send down there? Do you send beer there today? Or?
We brew beer in Brazil. So we brew Goose IPA.
Goose Island beer, IPA.
Yep. Yeah. IPA. We've done. We got some newer beers coming out. IPA is a big focus, but we're brewing IPA all over the world. China, Europe, Australia. When we launched, we were shipping the beer. I remember I went down to Brazil for the launch of IPA. I think we sent Holland down. When you send beer to Brazil, like the freshest it is, if they put it into a retailer the day they get it, it's like 2 months old, maybe 2.5 months old. So it's for those types of beers, for Bourbon County, that would be fine. So if you're going to sell beer, these types of beers, in these countries, it's just too far away. Like you got to brew it down there. And, AB obviously is, born out of Brazil. So there's a lot of infrastructure there. And we got, I think, with the right people on it to they're very, very willing to work with us. It's not, all the rumors of, doom and gloom. It's they want to brew the best possible goose beer that they can. And it's not an easy thing, but we're working on it. So
That's great, guys. We're coming up here in an hour, so that's about the time that we have for tonight. That was a very, very good, even though I had some technical difficulties for one of the first times, but I'm glad that we got this rolling. I'm glad it went smoothly, and I think it went this conversation was very organically, and I want to really, really thank you guys' time, John's, Josh's, and Mike's. It's very insightful and great to hear what's going on. And I usually get to see all of you guys. Well, I saw Josh popped in at Siebel a few months ago, but I didn't get to see Mike and then John this year. So really appreciate you guys' time. So some goodbye notes from you guys.
John, Josh, and Mike, that order.
Oh, okay. This is fantastic. This has been such a effing goofy year. And I am so happy to be spending time with friends. I was reflecting, the things I'm grateful for this year, and there are a number of them. Like I've had some amazing experiences this year. But it's like that smaller circle. But because of that, we don't get that larger circle. Like, when am I going to see you guys? Like in person with a beer. This is awesome to do this because I got the people I drink on the internet with. I got the people I drink alone with at home. That would be me. And then what else? Your family, friends, whatever. So anyways,
Right.
It's great to see you all. Thanks again for putting this together.
Yeah, thank you, John. Josh.
I think an undervalued feature of this time of year, certainly in the Midwest where we're all based, is that like you just put your beer out on the back porch and it's cold. You can have more beer than you normally can fit in your fridge this time of year, which is right now is kind of valuable. And you have to think about that. I'm looking at my iPhone app for the weather, and I'm seeing like, is it going to freeze, or what is the freezing point of I'm storing some higher gravity beers with lower freezing points right now on the porch, which is good. And so, yeah, I think that's like a small feature where the world helps you out. Last night we're drinking outside. So that's what we're doing is we're hanging out outside. It's like a Bears game tailgate party every day. And so we're learning to layer up. And someone was like, do you want a cozy for your can of beer? And I was like, no, the cozy is actually going to warm up my beer right now. It's like I'm doing just fine in the natural environment. So this time of year, it's okay to get outside and drink your beer. That's what the right thing to do right now is to be safe. You maybe see your neighbors outside on your front porch. It's kind of the old-fashioned way that we used to live our lives. And I just try to look for the silver lining in it all. So
I'll tell you,
awesome.
Ski Hill's opening tomorrow. I'm super psyched to be out there. And usually there's beverages too.
Mike?
Yeah, same sentiments. We did a collaboration in Minnesota in January a couple of years ago where we went up to them, and I got to see the Twin Cities in January, and we went out to some bars, of course, and just how the people embraced the weather there. It wasn't like, oh my God, go in and it was like, we're gonna go outside and like do sled runs, and it was bitter cold, and they were drinking beer, and I said, this is fantastic. Just embrace. We're Midwesterners. We're no strangers to this. So, the winter, I drank an entire bottle of Bourbon County Stout. I never do that.
I'm about there too.
Program was.
Yeah.
But thanks for having me, John, Josh. Good to see you guys. John, I want to tell you that we did another historical beer that Andrea created some malt for. So we did a late 19th century Irish foreign extra stout that we're going to vat age, just like Guinness would have been your sign there. Guinness used to be vat aged for like 12 to 24 months. And we found some records from about 1880 from malting records for how they made Irish pale malt. And Irish pale malt, as opposed to English pale malt, was kind of like would create like kind of a reddish wort. So she kilned it, kind of stewed it and kilned it to those specifications. We brewed it, and it's aging away now. But, I thought you'd be, after Obadiah Poundage, I thought you'd be interested in that. I'll get you some more details on it, but just trying to have some fun with different custom malts. And Andrea, I don't know, Josh, you've ever heard of Valley Malt out in rural Massachusetts? Andrea Stanley's making some fantastic stuff at a craft malt level.
So every Thursday night since COVID hit, Andrea and I have drunk together on the internet.
Perfect.
There's this goopy collection of like brewing industry professional, mostly women, pretty small, but we get together every Thursday night. So tonight being Thursday night, I'll pass that on. She'll be super.
Yeah. I let her know, but we had them all for a while, but we finally brewed it, and excited to see what happens with that down the road.
Yeah,
sounds good, guys.
All right, apparently we're turned out of this bar, so things don't really change now, do they?
No, not quite. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.